Hi everybody, it's Jenna from Jenna Stitches. Today is Tuesday, April 11th, and that does make it Temperature Blanket Tuesday. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking it out. If you like what you see, please think about liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, doing all that good stuff, because I would really appreciate it. We are getting very close to 800 subscribers, and when we hit that, I will definitely be having a giveaway. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and watching this video. So if you are new and you're not sure what Temperature Blanket Tuesday is, I do have a playlist for every single video I've made this year so far, but I'm making a temperature blanket this year. And if you're not familiar with a temperature blanket, again, go back and watch the previous videos because I discuss it in quite a few of them, and you can kind of see my progress throughout the year. But I write down the high and low temperature projected for the day, and then I make a row in my blanket. So each row of my blanket will signify one day throughout this year and what the temperature was either projected to be for that day or what it was, depending on when I work on it. I know I'm doing mine a little bit unconventionally compared to most people. I write down the high and the low, and then I kind of choose what color I want to go with if that color is different. Obviously, if the high and low are very close to each other and the color is the same, then I just go with that one color. But if the high and low end up being in a different color range, I kind of pick which one I want to go with. And for the most part, I've been working on it before the days hit. So I do write down the projected forecast for that day and just work on that row. So I know there are some days within the blanket that weren't accurate to what our temperatures actually were that day. But lately, the last couple weeks here, I have been working on it closer to the end of the week before I make the video, so the temperatures are accurate, or I don't know what I was going to say. But there were a couple days so far this month where I actually had to cross off what I had already wrote down and change it because our temperatures were projected much lower than they actually were, or yeah, both cases were lower than they actually were. That's just kind of how I've been doing it. I know it's a little bit unconventional. I know I probably won't remember any of that by the time I'm actually done with the blanket. So it is what it is. But to make it so I don't get bored, especially where I live, our temperatures don't fluctuate too much during this time of year. I'm kind of going with it. So if I have like 4 days of one color and the next day the low is projected at a different color, I change the color out just so I don't get bored. That probably doesn't make much sense either, but that's just what I'm doing. So I believe I haven't made a video for it in about 2 weeks now. I really should have went back and watched the last video I made, but I didn't. But I believe I stopped at March 27th. I have been caught up on the blanket. I just didn't film a video last week. So I believe the last time we showed it, or you guys seen it, was March 27th. So I have 2 weeks of progress to show you guys. So I'm just going to show the blanket in whole right now so you can see how it's looking so far. And then we'll discuss it in detail. So here it is. So it's getting pretty big. Can't even get the whole thing in frame anymore. But the black lines do signify the change in a month. So here is January. And the purple is my like 40-degree range. The light blue is my 30-degree range. And the tealish color was my 20-degree range. So good mix of 20s, 30s, and 40s in January. Then going into February, we had quite a mix of colors in there. So the bright green here was actually anything below 20 degrees. This plum color is my 50-degree range, and then this brighter pink is my 60-degree range. So we had below 20s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s all in February, which is definitely strange for Western New York for February. And then March, not much of a variation in color in March at all. We had some 20s, 30s, 40s. We did have a couple days of 50s in there, but mainly 30s and 40s, which again is pretty typical for my area in mid-March. or all of March, I should say. So there is March, and here is April so far. So far in April, we've had quite a mix of colors. So we'll discuss that in detail in a second. But starting off where we left off, which here's my stitch marker from where we left off. So this is actually March 28th, which would have been 2 Tuesdays ago. It was 42 degrees, so we had a lilac. I'm actually going to take this out so we can move it. And then Wednesday, March 29th, it was 39 degrees, so we were right at the cutoff of the stonewash color, but that's what it ended up being. March 30th, which was Thursday, was a high of 43. And Friday, March 31st, was a high of 42. And then going into April, we started April off April 1st with a high of 63 from what I wrote down, but I actually think it ended up getting up to like 65, 66 degrees. And I do remember April 2nd, you can see we dropped right back down, a high of 46, which honestly for here is not too bad, but going from that warm 65 to 66 degrees down to 46 was a little bit crappy, I guess. I don't know another word to use. But I remember on April 2nd, we were in the car and I was listening to the radio, and the newscaster, radiocaster, I'm not really sure what they're called, was making a joke that Mother Nature played the best April Fool's Day joke on us by making it so nice on April Fool's Day, and we thought spring was going to be here, and dropping right back down to 46 the next day. But you can see after that we've had some pretty good weather except for these 2 days here. April 3rd would be this plum color here, which ended up being 57 degrees. And then April 4th, we had 51, so still plum again. And then April 5th, which was Wednesday, we actually added a new color into the blanket. And now that I'm looking at it on camera, you can see it more in person, but these colors are very, very close to each other. But this is a new color for my 70 degree range. Watermelon. It was a high of 72 that day, so very nice day. And then Thursday, April 6th, we had a high of 64. April 7th, Friday, which was my birthday, we dropped back down to 45. Well, I had a very, very nice birthday, and thank you everybody for the birthday wishes who wished me a happy birthday. It was pretty cold. And then Saturday, we had a high of 49, so still kind of chilly. But since then, it's been pretty nice outside for our area at this time of year. Sunday, the 9th, we had a high of 55. And then yesterday, the 10th, I had to think about that for a second, we had a high of 65. So honestly, pretty not typical for my area for this time of year. We generally are still in the high 40s, mid 50 or low to mid 50 range. Most of April, we usually don't get 60s or even 70 degree weather until end of May, June, or maybe mid-May, I would say at the earliest. So even though like it's been pretty cold so far this year, and I know I've been pretty much every video complaining like when are we going to get the nicer temperatures in here, it is pretty rare to see this in my area for this time of year, at least in my opinion. I don't really pay attention to the weather too much, honestly, and this is the most attention I pay to it, is making sure I make my temperature blanket. Also, if it's nice enough that I can go for a walk. But having these type of temperatures this early into April is actually kind of rare for us. Like those few lilac in there is what I would expect. But having these like 70 degree days is definitely strange. And not to spoil this week coming up at all, but if it goes as projected, we're going to see a lot of the watermelon and bubblegum and no other color. So I'm excited for that. I'm hoping it stays that way. But there it is looking so far. I do really like the transition between the colds into the warmer colors. And it's working out just the way I wanted it to in my head. Like going from these cooler colored into the warmer colors, and then it's going to go back into the cooler colors. So I think it's going to look really, really cool as the months go on. But there it is. So that is what I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. Let me know down in the comments below what the weather's been like for you. And I'm going to try to start doing this weekly again. I just haven't wanted to. I really don't have a reason. Like I said, I actually had it up to date and just never made the video. So I'm going to try to get back to doing it weekly again. So hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday for the update there. But I hope everybody has a great week, and I will see you all probably Thursday for Things We're Making Thursday. Bye.